Hello lovelies. If you've been following what I've been doing on my blog and so on, games-wise, for the past few months, I have been basically taking a month as a theme, or finding one of those mass questionnaire things that people put out in the RPG community, either answering the questions or doing a month worth of content. This month is D&D month. Last month was Starfinder month. So, you know, I did all kinds of bits and pieces, additional options for spaceships, some rough cut vehicle creation rules, yeah, this, that, bit of the other, things, stuff, races, you know, all of that kind of thing. And I went through this whole month of doing this, and I would post every single entry every day into the Starfinder Facebook group. And at the end of this whole month of work, quite a lot of work to be honest, for something I was just doing as a kind of fan thing and to draw people over to my blog. So at the end of that month, I signed off with a kind of joke entry. There are gods and things in Starfinder. It's Pathfinder in space, and Pathfinder is basically just someone's homebrew D&D system derived from 3.5. I digress. Anyway, I ended the month doing a joke entry, tongue-in-cheek entry of two new gods of the realm of data and information and computing, because, you know, this society that they have in this game must have gone through a period of the rise of information technology and networks and communication across that network, the internet that we find ourselves in today. So I thought there should be a couple of gods or whatever for that. You know, superstition is rife on the internet. There were legends going back to Usenet of time travelers and internet-born spirits and God knows what else. You find humans together, they tell stories, they make up superstitions and nonsense and shit like that of all kinds. So I came up with two gods. I was initially inspired by Jeffrey Rowland's God of Internets, but I wanted to do something different. I always liked the way, you know, godly twins in old pantheons or brothers would fight. So I thought, what are the two sides of the internet? What are the two faces of the same coin? Where's the split? Where's the divide? And I came up with two gods of the internet for Starfinder: Keck and Roffle. Just intended as kind of usable jokes and references. You know, the resonance is particularly strong with these because on the cat side, you know, you've got Bast and Egypt, and the fact that people love cats online, you know, Can has cheeseburger, all the rest of it. And on the other side, the frog, because of that whole resonance and popularity, and because of the whole internet prophecy meme joke going around about the Egyptian god. And, you know, that was kind of it as far as I was concerned. I would keep an eye on the group because I'm interested in Starfinder and doing more stuff for it. And it was just, you know, at the end of a month of work, I figured, you know, just something a little bit of fun. Then this happened.
Pepe, seriously? WTF is wrong with you, man?
A joke. About a joke. About a joke taken from a comic and made into a meme from a comic that was originally a joke. And that's your reaction. May I perhaps venture to suggest that it's not me that has the problem, but perhaps this was just an isolated case, you know, just one person flying off the handle, you know, 1 in 100 people is a psychopath. Perhaps I just ran into some random crazy person in the Starfinder group. And needless to say, don't harass any of these people or whatever, but, you know, they made these comments publicly, and I don't see why I should be nice to them when they haven't been nice to me. I grow weary of taking the moral high ground constantly. But like I said, maybe this was just a random crazy person.
This dude is pretty known in the industry for his garbage person behaviour and opinions, Laura.
not just one person then. It's interesting that this idea of who I am seems quite prevalent, and yet nobody seems able to articulate what it is exactly I'm supposed to have done. And anyone who even makes an attempt, I tend to find out that it's not true. So yeah, the pile on then began, and people began going insane.
It's not cute. Everyone knows what you shitheels are doing. No one is amused. Stop fucking up the world and go back under the rocks you came from. That is all.
What shitheels? Who? Who are you talking about? What are we doing? Showing you up for your insane overreaction to a negative joke, a parody, a satire on the way people interpret and use a cartoon frog? I mean, if you're saying my agenda and what makes me a shitheel is pricking the egos of blowhards, then guilty as fucking charged, I guess.
The poster is pretty well known for being a shitty troll.
If I might be so bold as to quote Richard Dawkins, whatever else troll might mean, anyone who disagrees with me cannot be a useful definition.
While the article itself may or may not be on point, given this guy's other videos, Origins for example, I'm less inclined to take it as a joke.
My video about Origins was about Larry Correa being disinvited for no reason that holds water when you examine it. I mean, Anita Sarkeesian, a huckster, a con artist, a liar, a cheat, someone who has nothing to do with tabletop role-playing whatsoever and knows even less about that than she knows about computer games, is being invited to Gen Con. But Larry Correa, a writer of fantasy whose work has been turned into a role-playing game, is disinvited from the Origins Games Fair for no real reason other than virtue signalling particular politics. I don't think people should be censored, and I don't care what their political position or anything else is as it relates to that. That used to be a progressive opinion.
Pepe, Kek, Kekistan, etc. is all trolley racism covered in self-denying aloofness. Whether or not this is properly put into its right context is to be seen both here and in the world. It's already happening, though.
The supreme irony when it comes to Pepe and other instances like Milk or the OK hand gesture and others is they're only made into right-wing symbols in the minds of these insane paranoiacs by trolls and by themselves. You know, this whole pseudo-left movement that's appeared, this hysterical nonsense that has turned its back on every left-wing principle pretty much that I can think of. This monster is of your own imagining. It exists only inside your own head. And the way this works is that the more hysteria and nonsense you buy into, the more people use it to troll you. What I am trying to do, if anything, and this is like a tertiary goal, is to undermine their use of Pepe and other symbols by continuing to use them in the proper way. That is, just as a meme like any other. That's not right, left, anything. It's just part of the same cut up and remix culture as the rest of the internet. Like I say, this is a monster of your own making and your own imagining. Anyone with a lick of sense knows better. Fucking normies.
Aww, James Desborough, the shitty alt-right troll, has found his way over here. That's adorable.
Alt-right troll. Me, the left anarchist, who I don't think has ever trolled anyone, made fun of people, pricked at their pomposity, as I mentioned earlier, certainly. Trolled? Perhaps in my youth on some religious forums or something, perhaps, but otherwise, no. I don't really generally do that kind of thing. Alt-right? That's like the opposite of what I am. If you look at the political compass, the top right quadrant is authoritarian right wing. That's where you'll find the alt-right. I'm in the libertarian left wing, like the opposite corner. I almost couldn't be further away from the alt-right if I deliberately tried when it comes to political opinions. Where does this come from? It's a mystery to me. Now, unfortunately, I didn't manage to mine all the salt or all the gold out of that thread before it was deleted, because not because of anything I'd said or done in the original post, just from people's reactions to it, their nonsensical, stupid reactions and arguments to it. Well, that's worrying in and of itself. If you put content up that is fine, and yet people react to it in an insane way, the sensible thing to do surely is to lock the comments or make it so that comments can't be posted on that item, not to delete the whole fucking thing, but there we go. Agog as I am about these ideas that people have about me, I didn't manage to screenshot one that really made me go, what? Which was, so we were talking about Kyrgyzstan and what it means and the symbology of Pepe and the history and all the rest of it. And there were a few people in there that actually understood, so all is not lost. And I posted Jeff Holliday's explanatory video, What is Kyrgyzstan, in there, because, you know, he was there, he helped come up with it, and he does give a very good explanation. Only to be told he was a well-known online racist. Jeff Holliday, one of the cuddliest, nicest people online I think you'll ever meet, though he has a wicked sense of humour, who has done videos debunking race realism and who has been targeted for abuse and harassment by the alt-right. And somehow, through the alchemy of these people's delusions, someone who debunks race realism and is hated by the alt-right becomes a famous or notorious online racist. I mean, what? And then this morning I wake up to a Facebook full of notifications of replies to a comment I made fairly off the cuff on someone trying to start a discussion about whether people should be able to play like former Nazi characters in a Vampire the Masquerade LARP Society game. I used to be part of the society. I'm not anymore, in part because of the bureaucracy, in part because of the attitudes which were in the reaction that I got. But I'm still friends, in inverted commas, with people who are still part of it, who never left that organisation. I mean, my take on it is, this is a horror game. It should have horror themes and content and so on in it. And if you want to play a villain, a Nazi, a former Nazi, a racist, a Confederate officer, or whatever else who was embraced at that time, has lived through to the present day, maybe you're an ex-Nazi vampire who's being hunted by Jewish vampire hunters. You know, some kind of special secret division of Mossad or something that hunts down immortal Nazis to kill them. You know, this is all interesting, good stuff, grist to the mill, grist for role-playing. And if you take that away from people, if you just kind of blanket ban anything like that, then you're taking away from the game. Now, back when I was in the cam, these kinds of character concepts, controversial character concepts, were subject to approval. And a lot of the time, the kind of officers who work in the organisation, they just kind of make up shit for them to do so that they seem like they're useful. A lot of the time they're not fucking necessary, to be honest, and there was bloat in the number of people that did it. But on that one, I could see the point. You know, you want some sort of... You don't want to ban these things because, duh, it's a mature horror game. But you want some kind of quality control on them, so it made sense to have them go up and be cleared by people to make sure that the person doing it was competent and was, you know, doing it for the right reasons. You know, we have problems in the UK with people from America wanting to have werewolf characters tied into the Troubles in Northern Ireland, you know, the whole Fianna tribe of werewolves and so on. And we wanted people to be somewhat sensitive. But, you know, that was something that was going on still at the time with Continuity IRA and so forth. So it made sense. And plus, a lot of them didn't know what the fuck it was about at all. So we wanted people to have at least a basic grounding in the politics and history of it. So it made sense to clear that, but we never banned anyone from doing it. We just looked at it on a case-by-case basis to make sure it was being done well, which is horribly subjective, and these days I think I would just say I'd throw it open to anyone if they want, so the fuck what. To quote again, this time Twain, censorship is telling a man he can't eat steak because a baby can't chew it. When you enter into a mature themed game, a horror themed game, your entry into that game is consent to encounter mature themes and the horrifying. If you're that fragile, if you have that much problem separating reality from fantasy, you shouldn't be playing in the first place. You shouldn't be reading books, you shouldn't be watching television, you shouldn't go to the cinema, you shouldn't be playing computer games, and you certainly shouldn't be role-playing. But I don't believe you when you say that you can't separate reality from fantasy, especially when it comes to role players. Psychological studies in the 80s around the whole satanic panic and role playing demonstrated that gamers were scoring badly on some of these tests because they were better able to tell the difference between reality and fantasy, between a mental exercise, a what if, and the real. Gamers would probably fail a Voight-Kampff test because they would understand that the turtle in the example isn't actually a turtle. For fuck's sake, grow up. You're almost convincing me at this point to change my position on RPG Pundit's D&D/RPG Gate. Maybe we do need it. But it's not him, or people like him who have convinced me. It's numpties like you. Zang.
Shine is on me like a dog on a what? Boom. Fight the power, put myself on the throne. You know when shit is getting heavy like it weighs a ton. I will run you down like a marathon. Take you up good, put you in the trunk. See you next Tuesday, you is a punk.
You've been living like a little